Hello there.
I'm not starting this again, mind. Say hello like a normal person.
I don't have the ability to. How is everything going?
I can't lie, I'm going to start with a complete apology for the fact that A, I sound horrendous, and B, I'm literally sitting here in a hoodie cuddling a cushion.
Not feeling very well.
Oh, I am rough. Like, obviously went slam dunk over the weekend, had time of my life, drank way too many pints, nothing new there, and felt all right yesterday. But in actuality, I'm wondering how much that was just, I might have still been slightly tipsy. So I really didn't feel too bad yesterday, but it's kicking in today. And I do absolutely love the irony of that. In the last episode, I said, I've been fighting a cold for 3 months, and in this week's episode, that is literally the following episode, I am loaded with cold.
There we are.
So
I must admit, it's a bit of an age thing. When you get older, you realise that the day after drinking is worse.
Yeah, it's definitely worse. I mean, the fact that I was drinking cider probably wasn't helpful. That is not my drink of choice. But you know, £7.50 for a pint, like, or £11 for a vodka. I'm taking the pint.
Yeah.
Every single day of the week, I'm taking the pint.
Cider does go down very easily as well.
It does. Dark roots went down really easy.
Yeah.
But anyway, how about you?
So that's been you this week.
You?
I mean, biggest thing for me is that the football season's finished now. Or at least at the time of this being out, it's been over for a few weeks, but it's still fresh in my memory at the moment.
Just on the football note, I would like to take a moment to say thank you for not allowing me to go to Leeds in a Leicester top, especially after what happened at the weekend. Thanks for that. Thank you for giving me a different football shirt to go to Leeds in.
Did you hear about the guy that called in to request a song like Love Will Tear Us Apart, but he dedicated it to someone called Ellen Drode? Fucking hilarious.
I did not, but literally at Slam Dunk, as soon as I got out, the first thing I did as soon as I had signal was I was like, "What was the score?"
Yeah.
And then I had a bit of a giggle. But I just all my Leeds friends, I love you.
Yeah.
So end of football season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's different this year because we've got the Euros kind of around the corner, but there's something about the end of the Premier League season and that feeling of what do I do now?
Yeah.
I've tried many things, you know. I was heavily into cricket a few years ago. I still like cricket, but obviously it's not a patch on football. It's like something to entertain you in the summer once you've got no football on. Like I feel like I'm okay. I've got like enough on to sort of still fill out my weekends, but I know that there's been times in my life where football has been pretty much like the only comfort I had all week. So great as well because it's not, you know, back in the day it was just the Saturday games or whatever, but now
Tell me you're old without telling me you're old. Back in the day. Sorry,
I don't predate the Champions League.
Just the Premier League.
Almost. You predate the Premier League. I know you don't. No,
I might do actually. I don't know.
No, you don't. Premier League was 1992.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. But anyway, sorry. I had to get the dig in. Continue.
Yeah. But I used to have like, you know, just the Saturday traditional games, but now you've got, you know, Sunday night, like Super Sunday, you've got Monday night football, you've got Europe during the week. It kind of, you know, it keeps you going. It gives you something to sort of follow along to. And I think it's that sort of consistency, but also, you know, watching the teams develop. And like, obviously, if you've got your own favourite sports team in the Premier League, then that's a whole different thing as well. Yeah. And yeah, there's definitely a feeling of, what do we do now? Let's wait until August.
I think probably a lot of men, like, I know obviously a lot of women like football as well, but like, you know, culturally speaking, it is very much a lot of men. You struggle more to find a man who doesn't like football than you do a woman. That's essentially what I'm saying. But for a lot of men, like, I think they use it as a way to talk in many ways. Like, you know, you go to the pub before the game for a few pints with your friends, you just have a chat about shit. Like, it's cathartic in many ways.
Well, I mean, on that, I really do want to like sing the praises of the Premier League in particular, but just like the FA in as a whole. Like, they've been talking a lot about men's mental health recently. A lot of key prominent players have come forward and are much more willing to talk about their experiences. Richarlison was the most recent one I saw. And the guy, I watched the interview, the guy was in tears. I was talking about all the stuff he'd gone through. It makes you, it does make you feel a bit guilty as a fan, because Richarlison is an easy target of like ridicule and wind up and stuff, just because the way he is on the pitch. But yeah, it just brings it all down to earth when you hear someone like that talking about their experiences. And yeah, I think the Premier League need to be really sort of commended for that.
Yeah.
Have you seen the advert for?
I know which one you're talking about, because I was just about to bring that up.
I'm going to need to look at what football team it was, because I feel like I'm doing them a disservice. I want to say Norwich, but it might not have been.
I feel like it might be. But I know exactly, because that was what I was about to bring up and say, like, because you showed me that advert.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that is powerful. It's a very, I mean, to be fair, if we can find it and link it here, that would be ideal, because it's like, if you've not seen it, it's powerful. It's two blokes, basically.
Yeah.
And bluntly, one looks very depressed and one looks very happy. And it's the age-old, normally the happiest people are the saddest inside, essentially.
Yeah. No, it's really powerful episode. Advert. And then you talked about the sort of the tradition of football in Britain. I mean, you go back to the times where going to see the football live on a Saturday was pretty much like the highlight of the week for so many people. It was the thing that you kind of got you through the working week. You go and work in shit like manual labour job or whatever it was, but then you just know that on Saturday. And it's an easy way for men in particular to meet like other men and chat. I know from my experience, and I think a lot of men would agree with this, like being put just with someone random and being asked to start talking about something, like it's really difficult. But if you're both into football,
it's a nice easy topic, even if you don't support the same team, even if your teams aren't in the same leagues, it's an easy conversation to have. I mean, obviously very different experience from a woman, but even for me, like if I'm stood and I've got awkward silence, I will go to football, especially if I'm talking to a lad. I'll be like, who do you support? Especially like up here, it's very much like you're either a Geordie or a Mackem, like unless you're not from here originally, then most people support either Newcastle or Sunderland. So there's that banter of like, oh, who do you support? Like, and it's a nice, easy flowing into a conversation.
What about do Middlesbrough get included in that?
Not particularly. Like they don't get included in the Geordie Mackem thing, but like it is like when Borough are in the Prem, it is like playing Borough, but it's not anything like what a derby is. Like it's nothing like what if you lived up here you haven't have you for a Sunderland v Newcastle game. What a treat when they finally get themselves out the Championship.
But there was the FA Cup game we had this season, but it wasn't quite
that
the
was
same.
it was A, it wasn't the same, and B, they actually were very sensible about the way that they handled that for transport and stuff. But that might be after, I mean, you'll have heard about the punching a horse incident. I know I'm going way back here, but like
it's one of my favourite stories about up here.
Oh, it's one of the few things that makes me ashamed to be a Geordie at times. But the thing with football though, just real quick tidbit, we're bantering here. It's banter. Like, I obviously do not have anything against Mackems, but it's funny to be like, oh, you dirty Mackem, the same way that I get called a dirty Geordie. Like, it just is what it is. It's funny when you overstep that line. It's not just a point of, I am taking the piss because you have heard some horrendous things come out my mouth about Mackems. I clearly don't mean it, but...
Well, it was when, for anyone who's seen the Sunderland Till I Die documentary, which is brilliant, by the way. Like, I would really recommend it.
It's fantastic.
Whether you're a Mackem or not. Like, and I remember the first thing I said to you after like 10 minutes of watching it is, you're a horrible person.
Was that not because I text you saying I'm 3 minutes in and I'm laughing?
Yeah. Just like the raw emotion of people and like it is difficult for non-football fans to understand like just how much it means to people, and it's a very easy thing to roll your eyes at, and it's kind of more the case now because of the money aspect of football. Like it's a very easy argument to say, they're just a load of prima donnas who get paid too much. That might be true, and like football fans are capable of having those opinions as well. But what overrides it for them is the sense of community, the loyalty to a team, the entertainment, and the talking points as well.
Exactly. Like it gives so much scope to start a conversation with somebody, or even to use it like, you know yourself, if you know your mate's going through a rough time, right, but like bluntly he's not going to talk to you about it, it's a nice way to kind of like ease into a conversation of being like, mate, I know you're not all right, come on, like you can talk to us, tell us what's going on. If you go up to him and just say what's going on, you're gonna he's gonna shut down. But it's a go with the flow, easy topic to get a bigger conversation going. And I think with what you were saying before about the FA as a whole, like they're using it the way it needs to be used to promote the whole. It is okay to talk to each other and because let's start with football. What's one thing we've all got in common?
Just obviously with Leicester being back in the Premier League, I imagine there'll be a lot of
there's going to be a lot of banter. I'm going to call it now, right? So Leicester v Newcastle, it's going to happen twice next season.
At least,
yeah. The recording after we have played you. If we win, you're going to sit here on Manic Minds in a Toon top. And if you win, I will sit here in a Leicester top.
Okay.
What's your problem with that? I mean, it's happening, but what's your problem with it?
That's fine. It's just, if I think people should get ready for seeing you in a Leicester top.
This is great banter. It really is.
So yes, that's been mine. Sorry. How have you been getting?
No, just honestly, just the main thing this week has been the being prepared, knowing how my bipolar reacts to alcohol. Because one thing that I learned a long time ago, quite a few years ago actually, was that my bipolar reacts quite badly to alcohol the following couple of days. Like, as in it really fucks with me emotions. Now, the logical answer there would be just don't drink. But let's be honest, 90% of people, they're going to drink anyway, because it might be because you enjoy having a drink. It's a social thing. For me, very much like, have you been to a festival before? Yeah, you've seen what toilets there look like. You think I'm getting in there sober? No, I'm going to need a good couple of pints before I'm willing to go in there. Anyway, continue. So it's been more of the beginning of the week was prepping for that, essentially, knowing what was coming. So, for instance, I knew that I had to give myself the whole of Monday with nothing to do, because I knew, right, okay, slam dunks the Sunday, I'm travelling back home on the Monday. I need to know that I can, no matter what state I'm in, because I don't know, I can't guarantee what way I'm going to go with it. So I need to know that I've got the space to do whatever I need to do. What I needed to do was literally just lie in bed and doom scroll. And just, I was all right. Like, I felt okay mentally. And then I've woke up today, and I mean, I can't lie, today's the first time in a long time that I've felt tired. And I mean, like, emotionally exhausted. Like, my alarm was on for 6 o'clock. I got out of bed at 28. Like, that's never, I mean, that's just not me at all. Like, I was snoozing it. Every 5 minutes it was going off, and I physically couldn't get out of bed. So I've gone and done all my appointments today. I'm getting home, and then I've just taken what I had of the afternoon to chill. I've done a little bit of admin that was necessary, the stuff that I absolutely had to do. Apart from that, I've chilled. I'm going to do the same tomorrow. I'm going to take it easy, because I know that if I try and go for it, I'm going to make myself ill. And it's the planning, essentially. Like, again, bluntly, I'm not going to just not drink, because I enjoy it. I like having a few drinks and having a good time. And I mean, again, a few is not something that I'm great with, but I know myself well enough.
What is because you mentioned it before, the how alcohol can affect bipolar, and I just be interested if we could talk about that.
For me, I noticed it makes us more volatile, and I don't mean the point that I want to make is it's not while I'm drunk. I'm not talking about while I'm drunk, because I mean, while I'm drunk, different alcohols affect me in different ways, like anybody. For instance, I know it's a very common one, but I cannot drink Stella. I get really angry when I drink Stella. And I know there's obviously the joke of wife beater drink. Essentially, for me, it is very much, I have such a temper when I drink Stella.
That was the first beer I drank. That was a stellar drinker.
If I'm going to drink beer, it's Bud.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, like, I'm not a big fan, but if I have to drink beer, I'll drink Bud. But like red wine, for instance, I like red wine, but I think one of the first things I ever said to you is, I don't drink red wine. It's not that I don't like it, it's that I know that I get a bit mouthy when I drink red wine. And when I say mouthy, what I mean is I will tell you what I'm thinking with no filter. And the problem is that with no filter, especially when you mix in the fact that, to my surprise, as I found last year, I'm very monotone, it comes off the wrong way sometimes. But then because I'm drunk, I can't like pull it back quick enough, and then that's how I end up in an argument. Normally with like a family member, because like that's normally where I would drink wine. Really,
we all know the dangers of mixing alcohol in family.
Yeah, exactly. But like, so that's not what I mean, right? I'm talking about like the hangover and the couple of days after the drinking. That's what I'm talking about specifically.
Is it because of the high you get from like being drunk and then?
I'll be honest with you, I don't really know. I twigged quite a long time ago that like I started to notice for about 2 to 3 days after I'd been drinking, my mood was quite volatile. Like I'd shoot up and shoot down and shoot up and shoot down, and like in being pissed off about little things, or like just generally irritated, and then like random crying fits and things like that. And then at one point when we were talking in therapy and I was doing DBT, and Laura was talking about police skills, so that's like your physical health, like, you know, do you need to see a doctor, like sleep pattern, all that sort of stuff. She'd said it was one of them is substance use. And now when people say substance use, you instantly go, well, I don't use substance because I don't drink. Sorry, I don't drink, I don't take drugs. But substances is alcohol and nicotine, caffeine, all that sort of stuff. You've seen me when I haven't had a kind of relentless. Jesus Christ, I'm not okay to be around. But that's what like they mean by substances and how substances affect you. Alcohol affects me in a volatile way for the few days after if I don't put the certain precautions in place. And a precaution for me is very much a don't expect too much of myself. Allow myself to feel groggy, essentially, and just chill out. Like if I know, like, granted, you can't do it all the time because you know yourself, sometimes you'll finish work and you go to fancy a pint, or like on a Friday night, we've been paid, we'll go for a pint, and before you know it's midnight. Like, it's not okay.
After work drinks.
After work drinks are volatile places because you've not eaten either, so it is actually volatile. But you know, it happens. But most of the time, you know, you're gonna know if you're gonna drink quite a bit. So for me, I can plan ahead. And I know when I'm gonna drink quite a bit, that I need to not have too much going on in the coming days.
It's really good to hear that, because the worry for some people might be like, well, I've got this condition, so it means that there's just things I'm just not going to be able to do anymore. I'm going to have to completely cut out my life. And like, maybe in some cases, probably it's best to cut it completely out. But like, if you're someone like yourself who still has the ability to rein it in when needed, but then, like you say, kind of learn from how it's made you feel in the past and have things in place to sort of counteract the sort of the after effects of it.
And I mean, like, I'll be honest, I know, like, amongst my friends, I have a bit of a reputation for being able to go for it, essentially. Like, if I decide I want to drink, I'll go for it. And I mean, even, like, one of my best friends is getting married in a couple months. We're going on a hen night in a few weeks. And when we were sorting out before, I'd said to her, I was like, you know, I'd said a couple of weeks ago, I was like, as long as I've got somewhere to put my head, I don't really care. Like, the flow will do. And she'd messaged back in the group chat saying, I wish I was laughing because you're joking, but I'm laughing because I know it's true. And then the day when we were sorting out, because she was saying about like possibly someone sleeping on a sofa bed, and I went, I'm more than happy to take the sofa bed. And she replied saying, I know you'd sleep on a sofa in the lobby if required. And it's like, that's kind of like the joke amongst all of my friends. They're like, you know, when you're not fussy, when you've decided you'd like to have a drink, you're having a drink, and you're fun to be around. It's a good time. What they obviously don't see is the build up to that. What preparation goes into me having a good time, and then the aftermath of it. Back in the day, I'm just as old as you, sorry. Back in the day, I would have been like, oh, I'm going to just go for it. And then I would, the next day when I felt like crap, or 2 days later when I was being volatile, I would fix my problems by drinking more alcohol. That's obviously not not healthy at all. Whereas recognizing how I need to handle myself, I can look and go, like, for instance, I'm looking at my diary now going, right, okay, I've had a heavy weekend this weekend. I've got quite a bit going on over June again, but I'm not drinking. Like, I'll have like a glass of wine next weekend when I go out with my mum, or I'll have like a pint if I go and meet one of my friends. I'm not drinking, but I know that her hen night at the beginning of July, I'm already mentally prepared for how much work's going to go into the run up to that, and then the aftermath of it, because I know for a fact that I'm not going to be in a fit state mentally for a couple of days after 2 days of heavy drinking for a hen night. But I'm also not going to either miss out on my best friend's hen night or go there and be miserable because everybody around me is pissed, and the only person I know going is my best friend. I don't know anybody else, and I mean, you know yourself, I am actually quite a shy, awkward person in reality. When I've had a drink, I'm not, but like when I first meet people, I am quite like I'm not comfortable here. Drink kind of loosens you up a little bit.
Yeah. Just funny, I was just sitting there thinking how boring my life has become, because that used to be me. But now, like, my example of that now is coffee. And like, I'm doing my work colleagues a favour, making sure I have a coffee before I leave the house. Otherwise, it's not going to be a fun.
I would like to point out for any of Daniel's work colleagues that do watch this, he really is doing you a fucking favour. I've met him when there is no coffee in this house, and it's not a fun experience.
And it's always a fun one with coffee, because you think it's either going to do what it's supposed to do and fill me with energy and motivation to get up, or it's just going to exacerbate the anxiety. It could go either way. It's a very touch and go thing. But yeah, like it's a similar sort of kind of process for me. It's and there's a dependency on it, but again, because it's not drugs, it's not really like considered or talked about too much. But
can I just say, right, because this is an argument that I am sick to death of having, and I would like you to explain it to me like I'm 5. How come nobody bats an eye at the fact that you drink 3 to 4 coffees a day, but yet I have 1 can of Relentless a day and get shouted at? And granted, it used to be more than 1, but now it's 1.
Well, the main thing is Relentless is disgusting.
I think coffee's disgusting, but okay.
You don't.
I like iced coffee.
Nobody really thinks coffee's disgusting. They just haven't realised that it's nice yet.
Okay, remind me to clip this and bring it up to my mother, because she has some words for you about the taste of coffee. But anyway, continue.
I'm Colombian as well. It's sort of, it's in my blood, literally.
I've got a joke there. I've got a joke.
Yeah, that would be my answer to that. I don't know, but no, you're right. But I don't know. I in terms of caffeine, like consumption between a can of Relentless and a cup of coffee, I don't know.
I mean, the big thing for me is, as you just said there, I like iced coffee. It's because when I wake up in the morning, I think it's probably because I've been a heavy smoker for years, and now I'm a heavy vapor, which I actually think I now probably intake more nicotine through vaping than I ever did through smoking. But anyway, I always, when I first wake up, my throat's always really dry and sore. So I need something cold. Like, some people are like, oh, you need a hot drink. I don't. I need cold. Like, it's literally why right now I'm sitting gulping away on ice cold juice, because I'm not very well in my throat. So I need something cold.
Yeah.
But sorry, I know that was a total little tangent, but I don't really think that it's okay, that it's perfectly socially acceptable for you to drink 4 coffees in a day. But if I have more than 1, even if I have 1 can of Relentless, I could shout at that.
I don't think drinking 4 cups of coffee in the morning is as socially acceptable as you think it is.
I'm not on about in the morning, but like I've seen you drink on a Saturday, like when we're recording and we've got stuff to do and that. I've seen you have like 4 cups before 2 p.m. And in that time, I might have 2 cans of Relentless, but I would be willing to hedge your bet that you intake more caffeine than I do.
So one thing I would say is, at some point maybe we can do this. We'll do 2 field trips, right, as part of this series. One, we'll go to the beautiful coffee farms in Colombia and see how it's produced and picked. And then we'll go to Relentless factory and see the shit that gets put into
I'd like to point out that I still haven't ordered a passport. Anyway, sorry, I know I totally went on a tangent there about coffee, but the joke that I wanted to make, I'm going to say it now so that you can clip it if you'd like to, and you don't want it to go in here, was that you might be Colombian with coffee running through your veins, but you Colombian, which technically means you've also got cocaine running through your veins.
Racism. This is stone cold racism.
It's also just really interesting to point out that obviously, naturally, now that this is the second episode back, might notice that there's been obviously the changes of where we're sat, the background, the fact I'm now blonde, those kind of things. But obviously changing the format of how we're doing this, kind of taking a bit more of a, not light, I don't want to say light-hearted approach, but more of like, right, okay, like, let's actually talk about life. And obviously we've agreed that we're going to change the format a little bit to be like some serious episodes, some more these kind of episodes. Like this is like obviously we're trial run of what this would look like. And then I just want to throw out there that we are going to do a bonus episode once a month, and that bonus episode will literally be us going head to head in competitions because he's not going to make the mistake of going, oh, whoever wins this is just better this time because on our trial run, who won?
Yeah.
But
that video was never supposed to see the light of day. So.
Yeah, but then it was like a banging. It was a really good video.
Oh, no, yeah.
There's parts of it that are fantastic. But anyway, just kind of want to say like we've changed the format a little bit. We're going for something a little bit different because I mean, just on the subject of the burnout video last week, one thing that we didn't say was that those very heavy episodes at the beginning were causing burnout in us as well, because it is hard to sit there and talk for an hour. And I mean, like, let's be honest, it's an hour after cutting it down about things that massively affect our day-to-day lives. It's hard to do that. Whereas one big thing that we both said when we started doing this, other than we want it to be fun, is we want to help as many people as we can.